You know, there's nothing like being in the green room. It's like my favorite place to be. And you know what? Typically, there's no green. And once again, I guess we have a plant back there, but otherwise, there's no green. But here's what I want you to know. I'm not good at reading bios, nor do I like to read bios, as you probably know. So we have Leigh Jaynes here, and I'm not going to read this bio because you have it. But I am going to ask her if she'll take a moment and answer the one question that's on your mind right now, like, who is Leah? And more importantly, what is she up to these days? So talk to us, Leah.
Okay. Leigh Jaynes is an American freestyle wrestler at the Olympic level. So that's who I am. I am an Olympic freestyle wrestler.
Now, that's not just all that you are. Tell us what you're up to these days, and then we're going to get into this whole backstory about being an Olympic wrestler and what it takes. But take a moment for the folks that are out there right now that says, you know what, that's like a lot of work. Take a moment and draw the correlation between what it takes to train to be an Olympic athlete and what it takes to actually be a business owner, because that's something else that you are as well. You're also an entrepreneur. A number of folks that are watching right now are entrepreneurs. So take a moment and kind of draw correlation between those two.
Sure. Yeah. When I first started wrestling, I was getting taken down a lot in life. So just like when you first start out in something new, just anything really, business, whatever it is that you're trying to be good at, you get taken down a lot. You may not get your hand raised a lot. And so what wrestling taught me and how it translates into business is you have to learn how to celebrate those little wins in order to take steps towards your goals and stay encouraged. And so when I was first starting wrestling, I got taken down and didn't win many matches. I got pinned a lot, didn't really get my hand raised, but I started making little goals for myself. I started saying, okay, well, this time I'm going to last 1 minute. This time I'm going to take offense. This time I'm going to defend the shot. And so by making these tiny quantitative goals for myself, I slowly became a wrestler that could get their hand raised more often than not, minimize my mistakes, and ultimately become a champion. So I think that translates well to business.
You know, I think that translates very, very well. And if we can, because we're in the green room, right? This green room is where we get to have any conversation. And they're probably wondering, Shay, that sounds good. Okay. She was able just to go, bam, do that. But talk about what you have to do to adjust, because right now there's a global pandemic going on right now. There's a global financial pandemic going on right now. There's a global social pandemic going on right now. So take a moment and talk about what it kind of pivot and kind of change and have to adjust, if you would.
Yeah. I think just like with anything else, if you're not able to adapt, you're going to go extinct. So you have to find a way to be flexible and adaptive. And that comes from analyzing what needs to be adjusted. So in this situation, we're all dealing with COVID. I mean, arguably, I would say wrestling is probably the sport that is most affected. We're a very it's a contact sport. We always get the stigma for different types of things being transmitted, which, it doesn't really pan out in the long run. When you look at the science, we know how to mitigate these circumstances, and you just have to apply critical thinking and problem solving skills to be able to adapt to whatever the situation is. So I'll give you an example. Our wrestling club, we originally opened up a wrestling club called Talents up in North Jersey. We would run practices and classes without really much, planning about how many people would enter the door, whether they had symptoms of the flu, symptoms like things like that. So it was never really a concern. We just assumed if you didn't feel well, you didn't show up to practice, and we never really managed the numbers that came into our room or thought about even contact tracing. Now that COVID's around, we have had to adjust in order for us to stay alive and for us to stay in business, we had to restructure our business. And so now we are running a small group size. People are screened before they go in, and we limit them to one partner so that they're just drilling with one person. So their contact, when it comes down to it, if somebody were to come up positive, we could contact trace them back to one partner that they had instead of several partners that they had in a room. And we believe by keeping our class sizes or our group sizes 6 and under and keeping partners down to 1, that helps us mitigate the risk. So when you're looking at making a change, you got to mitigate, you got to find your risk assessment. The risk is really high of transmission here. How am I going to mitigate? I'm going to do X, Y, Z to mitigate that circumstance. And now I can now have a tolerable, adjustment to my business. I can still bring in revenue. I can actually charge more for my private lesson. That might offset my finances a little bit, because before I was bringing in $10 drop-ins and I was packing the room with 100 kids. Now I can charge $75 per kid because I'm working with one-on-one. And so I can make an adjustment to how much value I'm putting into one individual practice or one client and recover some of that cost. And so I think with anything, with dinosaurs, with dodo birds, with anything that happens, if you're going to go extinct, if you do not learn how to make an adjustment and be adaptive.
We're going to talk about making an adjustment and being adaptive in a second. And I'm curious, in about a minute or two, what would you say to the person sitting out there that's saying, you know what, I've got to expand my comfort zone. I've got to do something different than I've done before. And the reason I bring that question up is that you are a woman, obviously, that was doing wrestling at a time that might have been as popular. So there might be some folks out there saying, whoa, I need to do something different as well. Talk about being able to expand the mindset and do what you believe that you want to do, no matter what other people think you should be doing.
Yeah, that's a really tough one. I think that a lot of people's decisions to do something or don't do something that's in their heart is factored into whether their parents or whether anybody is being supportive of it. And so I run into a lot of situations where somebody said, man, I really wish that I could have wrestled when I was younger, but, it's just something that didn't happen in those days, or it's just my parents didn't really understand it or didn't understand. Well, there's a good chance that nobody's going to understand what it is that you're doing at first. There's a good chance that people are just not going to get it because they're not you, and that message or that purpose or that call to serve was not meant for them. It was meant for you. And so you're the only person that has to understand that. And I think when you wrap your brain around that, you don't have to seek anybody else's approval for yourself to take steps forward towards making your life better. It's your life. And I think that releases us of the burden of suggesting that other people's opinions make it even the slightest impact on my decision-making process. I might reach out to you as a confidant. I have a friend. She's the Miss Worst Case Scenario. She's the Miss Worst Case Scenario. I'm like, I want to do this. And she's like, oh, but you could fall off the mountain, or you could break a leg, or you could like this, or you could go there. And it comes out of love, and it comes out of support, and it comes out of concern. And she just wants to make sure that I'm thinking of everything, and I have all of my contingencies in place. That's not the same as somebody discouraging you from doing something because they can't accomplish it. You have to be able to, keep the people close to you that are going to be supportive of that dream, even if they don't understand it. And if they don't understand it and they don't want you to do it and they're still standing in your way, you just have to get them out of your way, because that's the only way. You just, if you're not on my team, you got to just go over there for a second.
Step out and get out the way, ladies and gentlemen. For those folks out there, Dr. Sakisha Heilig, who I've got to connect you with, by the way. She's amazing out there in Orlando, Florida. Has a great show called Marriage Can Win. So talk about being in business and being married. You guys, I got to connect you two together. Gwendolyn, thanks so much for joining. Beth, it's a pleasure and an honor. Thank you so much. Calvin, I see you out there as well. Look, we got a show. We come back. We're going to learn these 5 secrets. Yeah, she said she really has 5 secrets. Isn't that really cool? Like, someone's really going to give you 5 secrets. I can't wait. I'm a champion. She's like, shh, no. She's going to give you it's going to be like rapid fire. But we're going to get those. We get back. So we're going to get started in 5, my favorite part. 4, 3, 2,
1.
All right, it's showtime. Promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands. Yeah. And they stay there. And they stay there. And they stay there. Cause all I do is win.
Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue-focused late-night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission is to empower. Our mission is to inspire. And our mission is to provide you, that's right, you, the entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And I always say you have 3 visions, I believe. You have 3 visions. I believe first, you have a vision for yourself. You know, the way you want to live, the home you want to be in, the car you want to drive down the road in. And it takes resources, which means it takes revenue. I know it takes revenue. And then there's a second vision you have. You have a vision for your loved ones, the ones you care the most about, the kids you want to send to a school of your choice, or in my case, like Mother Dear, she's 73 years old. We had a chance to go out today, take her to physical therapy. You know what? Normally she's using my card for Amazon. How many know it takes some revenue? Today she treated me to lunch. It was really cool. She's a police. And she felt good about it, and I felt good about it as well. And so maybe you want to write a check for a cause you believe in. Maybe you want to write a check for someone's health care insurance. It takes resources, which you need, I know, revenue. I get it. Then the third vision you have, you have a vision for the people you were called to serve. And I want you to imagine, and you don't have to be a believer. I happen to be a believer, because I don't want to impose my faith on you. But I want you to imagine that you're Noah in the Bible, and you have this big vision. God's giving you the experience. He's giving you the expertise, and you're about to get going. And right before you get going, there's a knock at the door. You're like, hey, what's going on? Wait a minute. Noah over here. Sorry to report, Noah, but there are no hammers in the house. No hammers. No big deal. I don't even panic. It's cool. Wait, there's another knock at the door. You heard it. I heard it too. Yeah, you and me, we both heard it. What's going on over here? I might as well report there's no nails either. Oh my gosh. And then there's that third knock. And then always the third knock. And someone says, I might as well report, look at me. There's no wood and there's no people. Good luck, Noah. And you're like, oh man. And maybe that's you. You got to go through some things to get to what you want. And this morning, this evening, this afternoon, no matter what time it is for you, we got the one and only Leah that's going here to help you do that. So with that being said, let me welcome Leah so we can learn what the 5 secrets of being a champion. What's up, Leah? How are you?
Hi, thank you guys for having me, and thanks to everybody that is watching this show today. So I'm very thankful and appreciative to be here.
Well, it's an honor and a privilege, a treat and a treasure to have you here, by the way. I love it. Can you take a moment and just define what champion means, right? I mean, we're talking about the 5 secrets of a champion, and we're going to get into that and get into some great things that you've been able to do in your business. But can you just define, when someone says, man, when she thinks of the word champion, Shay, I mean, what kind of goes through her mind? Like what is her definition of a champion?
Well, a definition of a champion is somebody who consistently wins. Yeah, they're consistently getting their hand raised. You can say that somebody is the champ that day, but when you categorize somebody as a champion, that person has a basically it's muscle memory. They're programmed to reach excellence consistently every single time. They're shooting for that, and they aim for it. And when they fall short, they try again until they get there. That's a champion.
I love it. You know, there might be people watching right now. I know the whole world knows you, right? And there might be a few folks out there that don't know who you are. Now, maybe wondering, Shay, can she give us just a quick backstory? Like, how did she get into wrestling? Like, at what point? I'm meeting her. I love it. And I've been reading the bio, and I'm going to hear some cool stuff, Shay. But what point did she decide that she wanted to be this wrestler? And what was that defining moment? She says, you know what? I can be a champ at this.
Yeah, actually, I was pretty good at most things that I tried. Just in general, that's not to be braggy or to be like not humble. I'm really, that really came out the wrong way. So those are the things like, I don't like her already, you know? No, I really was pretty athletic, and I could I could do things well, at least on the first try. Wrestling, I was really bad at, like, at first. And I'm not sure what it was about the programming and my psychology that said, this is the sport that I'm the worst at, and it's the one that I really, really, really want to be good at. And so I think that challenge, how much goes into being a good wrestler, the variables that take place, the mindset that has to happen. I like to take on big challenges. I like it when things are hard and I'm able to, overcome or learn how to do something very difficult. So I take pride in that. So wrestling was a very challenging sport for me. It came at the right time in my life. It came at a point where I was getting taken down in life metaphorically, and I needed to learn how to become more resilient of a person, how to cope with things using positive action steps. And I think for me, I was doing other things. I swam, I did track, I was in cheerleading, I was the drum major of the marching band, I played the flute, I did all kinds of things, and I was just a very active person, but nothing really modeled life the way my life was at the time, like wrestling. It just felt like no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get a win. I just couldn't catch a break. And wrestling really taught me that I got to get in there, and nobody's going to feel sorry for you, or to continue to pick you back up after a certain point. You're going to have to get your legs back underneath you, build your base back up, and stand up on your own 2 feet. And so I think that I needed that in my life. I had a non-traditional upbringing, and I think I just needed something to dig into, like wrestling, and something challenging, and that kind of modeled it, and modeled how to move forward and get my hand raised despite all circumstances.
Yeah, I love it. And now, if we can, you're also an entrepreneur. And we'll get into, you winning and all the great things you've done, but you decided to take on another challenge, which to me is a huge challenge. I guess it was like when you became a wrestler, which is you saw that there was a problem in the market, and you said, you know what, I'm going to go tackle this problem. And you could have just left it alone. You could have said, well, I'll wear this uniform. Take a moment to talk about the moment you had this revelation that there had to be a better way for women to have apparel that fit them. And then you decided, you know what, I'm going to do something about this. I'm like, what in the LL Cool J made her decide that she was going to do something about like a uniform and really go try to partner and put together something? So to take a moment and give us a little bit of the backstory and tell a little about what you're doing with this whole apparel that you're going to show us as well.
Sure. Yeah. Well, when I started wrestling, obviously there's a lot of people out there. I'm sure you're going like, I didn't know girls wrestled. I didn't know women's wrestled. Well, women's
I didn't know either.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why I'm here, right? Women's wrestling it became an Olympic sport in 2004. I started wrestling in college and was recruited from Missouri Valley in 1999. And I went there, and we had basically one option to wear for our wrestling singlet. So I was either wrestling in a guy's singlet. So if you want to know what a singlet is, you can see right there, there's a yellow singlet, and then there is the USA singlet right there. These are two different singlets this one I produced, the USA singlet I produced on my own, and then this singlet right here was produced through a partner. But you can see right there, if you're wearing a men's singlet, these straps that are there are actually straight in front of you, so they're not covering anything. And a lot of times, even now today, because I haven't been able to spread, I haven't been able to reach every single person that I could, the outreach to get these products on other girls that need them. Because it's fairly new, but we had straps that just go straight down in the front, and we had to wear shirts under them. Some people optioned not to wear shirts because they were uncomfortable, and so that opened up a whole nother round of concerns for parents that were putting young girls in the sport of wrestling, and also for people who wanted to participate in it, that didn't feel comfortable with what we were wearing. And so I spent about a year working with the same partner that produced the yellow singlet that you saw in the video. I worked with them for about a year. They helped produce a Generation 1 singlet. 15 years later, we produced this one, which is a Generation 2 singlet. So as you can see, part of being an entrepreneur is also not burning bridges, keeping partners, and having good relationships with people, so that you guys can make progress and do projects together when you're not working alone. But essentially what we did was improve what was available and customizable to women's wrestling. And I knew I was on the right track. I knew it was on the right track because when I got it right, a larger conglomerate came and told us that if my girls wore those singlets at the World Championship, that they would be fined.
What?
if they wore my singlets at the World Championships, they'd be fined because it was not part of the contract at the time for the company that had that particular contract. And so I knew at that moment I was on the right track because every single member on that team bought my first custom singlet, and then it made somebody mad. So
Wow. So that was another obstacle that you had to overcome as well, huh?
if you're not, I mean, honestly, in business, if you're not making somebody mad, you're probably not competitive.
That is so true. Someone's always mad about something that you're doing. I get it. I get it.
There are people that are bothering me just to bother me. I'm like, you're not even. This isn't even your thing anymore. Like, why are you bothering me? But that's part of it. Part of it, you'll have this noise to your right and your left, and there's going to be these people that are just like trying to get in your way for whatever reason. But you just kind of got to keep chugging and finish those projects, and and see your idea come to life. And mine was a need-based company. We really needed it, and it wasn't really a lot of revenue in the beginning. It's still really not. I mean, if I'm going to be honest with you, I think that I put a lot of passion and blood, sweat, and tears into providing this because I love women's wrestling and I want to see this be available to the girls. I want them to have, what they deserve for their efforts, which is, in all fairness, at the very least, something that fits them correctly.
Yeah, at the very least, something that fits them correctly. Take a moment, if you would. I know we talked about the 5 steps or 5 things of a champion. Kind of give us like 1, 2, and 3 things that it takes to be a champion. These may be characteristics that you have, because what I admire most about you, number 1, is that you have a heart to give and a heart to serve. So even though you were doing it for yourself, now you're on this fight for someone else. Not like they're going to raise your hand, by the way, and say you're the champ, but there's someone out there, some little girl or big girl out there is going to feel much better, much more comfortable, and have something that really represents who they are. And that's huge. That's huge. So for all the folks that are out there, do me a favor, hit the share button. You can hit the watch party button. Like pay this message forward to your community. One of the things I like about Leah, she's here to serve. So that's pretty cool. She's gonna go over at least 3 steps of a champion right now. And I want you to hit the share button. And if you're out there like Regina, who says, I like that, she's out there watching right now. Calvin says, that's pretty cool, thumbs up. They're out there, they're tuning in right now. They're kind of relating to this. And she's going to give you the 5 steps right now. And this might be something you want to share with your tribe. So go ahead, Leah. Go ahead and give us at least 1, 2, and 3. Kind of explain what these things are.
I'm going to give you my favorite ones, because I get this a lot as a coach. And with a sport like wrestling, you're not immediately successful. And so they're like, well, coach, I lost like 8 times this tournament. And I'm like, yes, but you have to celebrate the little wins. What are we So one of my action, or one of my steps or keys to success, is you have to, when you're doing something incredibly hard, you have to celebrate those little wins. So you show up that day, you decide that I'm going to work on, so I'm going to use wrestling as an example because that's what I am. I'm a wrestler. So I'm going to practice that day. My goal is to become a world champion, right? And so I show up to practice. I know I have to practice every day, but how am I going to become a world champion? And how is that going to look if I'm not getting my hand raised every single time? How will I ever become a world champion if I can't even win one match? Well, I put myself in these positions. I have a goal. I'm going to shoot single legs today. I'm going to get into my single leg 5 times during my match, or during my tournament, and I'm going to see right there, I'm going to learn how to finish from that position. So when you get to those things, when you do the things and you hold yourself accountable for them, celebrate those little wins rather than the outcome of the match. So rather than the outcome of the circumstance, did I get the bid? Did I win the, whatever it is that you're working on? In my business sense, I put my stuff on the table all the time. Sometimes, like last year, I didn't get the New Jersey bid for my apparel because of one reason or another. Somebody else did. And then the year before, I did get it. It can be disappointing to have those, what I would perceive as not winning those matches or not winning those battles, it could be discouraging. However, if I tell myself like, well, maybe I didn't get the New Jersey bid this time. However, it gave me time to work on bringing the neck collar up on here. And now next year when I put it on the table, I'll have a new thing to offer. Or I still have the Oklahoma bid and the, New Brunswick, whatever bid. And so you look at those little things and you try to stay on the air of being positive and celebrating those little things that you do correctly. And that, like I said, will help you be more encouraged. It'll help you get less depressed. If you are just outcome based and you're only thinking about wins and losses, you're not able to target those things you did well and develop those things that you did well. You end up just, like forgetting about them because I'm too busy worrying about I think we've all been there.
Yeah.
You lose something and you spend 2 weeks crying in your pillow, the next week eating ice cream, and the next week dragging yourself to finally get up and get started again. You lose a lot of time like that, I have to tell you. And so if you can just remember to focus on the positive things and focus on the little wins, you will take those hits in stride. You'll be able to handle those losses with grace and be able to bounce back a lot faster. So that's one of my favorites.
I love it. Focus on the small wins. Someone is out there. Do me a favor. Look right below the video. And write these words. Focus on the small wins. Focus on the small wins, whatever those small wins may be. For Debbie Barters out there, thanks for joining. Lakeisha Woodford says, hello, everyone. Well, hello to you. You're all champions. You're all winners. Just the fact you showed up right now says you're a winner. Don't worry. We're going to ask the real champion over there. What's another? I just want her to reach in her goodies of secrets and give us this one of those golden nuggets she can hand right over to you right now. And so another one is, give us another one of those golden nuggets.
It is know yourself.
Okay.
Know yourself. And you say, okay, I know myself. I'm Leigh Jaynes. I'm 5'7", and know yourself, meaning that when stuff gets tough and and all you can hear are the people that are against you, you have to know who you are and enough not to listen to the lies. And I can tell you with 100% certainty, when you start to get close to your goal, when you start to get right at the dawn of success, is when the noise is the loudest. It's when the devil just seems to spring out of nowhere and be like sitting on your shoulder and talking in your ear and bringing up every single reason why it's not supposed to be you. And it happens to everybody, and it sends you into this panic. And so if I could use I have one of these, athletes, one of my friends that competes, and she was planning to go to the national championship, and she had this plan and she set it out, and months in advance and years in advance, she's training for this event, and she's planning to go 67 kilos. And then right before she leaves, she's like, Coach, you think I should go 72? Because I think there might be less girls there. And I'm like, wait, no. That's just noise. Don't listen to it. Or like, Coach, do you think I should pull out because my shoulder hurt? No. Literally right before you are about to make a breakthrough is when the devil is the loudest. It's when he's in your way, he's in your ear, he's lying to you, he's putting people in your place, he's throwing sticks in the spokes of your tires. It happens to everybody, and you just got to know yourself. So when somebody is in your face telling you you're not good enough, you don't belong there, you're not supposed to win, she's better than you, they have a better advantage, or whatever it is, you got to know yourself and remind yourself that you put the work in, you're smart, you're educated, you did your drills, you planned this, you followed your plan, you executed things perfectly, you have a good support system, you've done everything. You have to validate yourself, because there are times where there isn't going to be anybody else that's going to validate this for you. So knowing yourself is going to be important when it gets tough. What are you made of? Like, what's inside of you? And so that's what's going to keep you going. That self-knowledge.
I like that. So everyone put number 2, just put self-knowledge. Just put self-knowledge. I think that was a great way to sum that up, by the way. Self-knowledge. Know who you are. And what I take away from that is obviously the breakthrough's right there. You got to just go just a little bit further, just a little bit further. Competition does 10, you do 11, just a little bit more. I love it. The coach is in the house, by the way. First, the business owner showed up, the entrepreneur showed up, the mom showed up, the wife showed up, and then all of a sudden he says, wait a minute, Shay, I understand now. I got to put on my coaching hat here. Wait a minute, let me just tell you what I tell the players every day, by the way, because I do this all day long. All right, give us one more, if you would. Give us one more of these characteristics of a champion.
This is important, right? The most important thing you can do when you get to be the champion is be humble. I always say to my wrestlers, nobody should be able to tell whether you won this match or lost this match. You leave the match the same way as you came, which means that if I lost, I maintain my dignity, my poise, and if I lose, I'm keeping humble, knowing that this could have gone a different way had it been the other person's opportunity, and knowing that there are times there is another time where you may have a rematch or whatever it is. And so how you handle yourself in the moments that you win are just as important as the times you handle yourself in the moments that you lose. So I say keep yourself humble. Know that wins and losses happen rather rapidly. You could be at the top of your game. You can be at the top of the world financially. Everything could be going your way. And then you turn around tomorrow, COVID hits, you lose your business, and the next thing you know, you're at a soup kitchen. So you need to know that it is a fragile and delicate thing, success and being humble in business and stuff like that. And I think being humble can help you just stay grounded in your approach towards business. It helps you treat people better. It helps build your character. And ultimately, you never know. You could be at the top or the bottom at any moment. So being humble helps you save face as well.
Be humble. Be humble. Jot that right down below. Be humble. Regina says you better preach out there, by the way.
3 generations of ministers of the gospel.
So she heard it coming out. I mean, I'm a preacher's child, but gee whiz. She was like, no, she got too much rhythm and cadence going over there, Shay. She got a little rhyme and rhythm. They can feel the pace happening. Hey, this is cool. We got 3 already, by the way. So I can hear you out there. Shay, don't leave us hanging before you go to the next segment. We won't leave you hanging. She has 2 more. Don't worry. She has more. So give us number 4, and then we'll get number 5 as well.
This is follow through.
Mm-hmm.
Follow through. You got to ride the horse to the finish line. And you don't know, you can say, this is my goal. My goal is to become, an Olympic champion. And I know this year is my year. My weight's perfect. My training's perfect. I have everything. And I'm going this direction. You gotta, and then let's say you get to the point and then you don't show up at Olympic trials. Well, what good did all that do? You have to follow through. Don't talk yourself out of something that intuitively you wanted to do. So follow through from the start to the finish. And even though the finish may be what you want, may not be what you want, but that was that's where you were intended to be. And I guess maybe you would have to really, for those of you out there that are really in tune with your faith, and I'm really in tune with my faith, so I always get these very easy choices that God's given to me, right? He's giving me these easy choices. He's like, Leigh, okay, today your choice is homelessness or infinite wealth and success. This way. Which one are you gonna pick? If your eyes are open and your intuition is clear, it's as clear as that. And there are many times in my life where I've been given that option, here or here. And you know that you're going in the right direction because things start to work for you that you didn't necessarily think were going to happen. Let's say, I don't know how I'm going to open that small business this year. I need another $300. And you decide to take that leap of faith, and next thing you know, you get a $300 check in the mail coming from something that you forgot about. And I think that's other people that are in tune with their faith can also really pinpoint those moments where they didn't really know how they were going to get from point A to point B. They just knew that they were supposed to go from point A to point B, and the next thing you know, you were given resources seemingly miraculously, but also in stride with what your purpose is. And that's kind of how you can gauge whether you're in line with what your divine purpose is whether you've been given, these supports and these cues and these signs that you're going in the right direction, and that people are starting to gather and take notice. And so I think the follow through is important, even if you don't understand it.
Man, I love it. Follow through. We're out there. We're coming down the home stretch. We're at number 5. Number 5. Don't worry, I'm going to ask her if she can give us a recap. Say, what was number 1? What was number 2? What was number 3? What was number 4? Can you give us a quick recap? And then give us number 5. And folks out there, Pamela Conley says exactly what she needed. Follow through. And there's so many areas of our life that we can apply that to. This is amazing. So she has one more though. Some guys come and they say, well, Shay, I can get 1 or 2. She's no. The competitor came out. We're getting all 5, Shay. All right, we're going to do all 5. You know what? That's her heart to give, her heart to serve, and her heart to bless someone out there. So how can you bless her? How can you give Leah a digital applause? Hit the share button. Hit the watch party button. And when you pay that message for, you hit that share button and that box pops up, just put serve plus add value. Just put serve plus add value. Do that right now. She's going to give you number 5. You can serve someone else right now because we believe in the giver's economy. The person outgives the competition, out-earns the competition. The person outgives the competition, out-earns the competition. You do that right now, please. If you did it before, do it again. We're going to bless someone else. We're going to change some lives tonight. All right, Leah, give us one more.
This one's going to be hard for everybody. And this one's challenging for me too, because I'm that mom in the yoga class where they say, stay in your own group. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. Just do your thing and whatever. And I'm like stretching my leg farther than the next person because dang it, I have to win. And so my last and final thing is, for all purposes, do not compare yourself to somebody else. You were made different than somebody else for a reason. God has made you unique. God has made you perfect in your own right, and it doesn't mean that your journey is going to look the same as somebody else's. That is for a reason, because your purpose, your message, what you're called to serve to do is completely different than the next person. So even though we might both have the same goal of becoming an Olympic champion, this person has a different journey, a different experience, a different approach, a different inspirational message, a different story to share, and also a different timeline. So they might reach their goal 4 years before I do, or the other way around. But I can't compare myself to that person by saying, oh, well, they get that technique more, or they placed higher than me here, or they really try to stay in your lane and focus on yourself when you're trying to take yourself from point A to point B. Those people are there to help keep you accountable. Like, let's say I'm working on a technique and this person does a good job of checking me on this position or whatever, but they're not there for you to feel bad about yourself because you didn't reach whatever expectation that they're reaching or whatever. It's just too much brain power. You have to put all of your energy into what it is that you're focusing on, and you don't really have time to look to your right and your left and figure out what somebody else is doing.
I love that. Coming from a competitor, don't compare yourself to other folks. Focus on you. Run your race. I love it. I have a bad habit of doing that as well as a marathon runner. I'm always looking around like, wait a minute, I'm in better shape, or I know that person just passed me. I know that didn't just happen.
Yeah, they started out super fast and they're opening, but maybe you said, okay, well, I'm going to start off at this pace and I'm going to pick it up at hill 3, and then on the home stretch, I'm really going to run this pace. And you had that plan instead, but then you see somebody and they're taking off in the first stretch and you're like, man, I got to keep up with them. And all of a sudden your game plan just goes right out the window.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you just compared yourself to that guy. That guy has no idea what he's doing. He's gonna burn out on the second mile,
Yeah.
and he's gonna be cramped up at the station by you know. So you just gotta know, trust yourself, your training, your plan, the execution of that plan, and everybody around you that's got experience that has helped you create this plan for yourself. And it's and comparing don't sway from that. Give yourself an opportunity to see how that plan played out, and that way you can make some adjustments here and there if something wasn't successful. But if you throw your whole plan out the window and go for the next guy's plan, then you might as well work for him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, said so well. Said so well. With that being said, segment. What's up, Janae Jackson? What's up, Mario Reynolds? Thanks for joining. We're moving to a segment now called Today is My January 1st. That's right, today is my January 1st. For those folks that are hearing it for the very first time that are watching, by the way, you can look right below the video, and write those words, today is my January 1st. For those folks that are hearing it for the very first time, today is my January 1st. We don't look at the calendar date and say, is today January 1st? No. We create every day. There's a January 1st moment. It's a do-over. It's a fresh start. It's our past doesn't equal our future. And there's probably 1,000 moments throughout the day. And any one of those moments, you have to make a decision. And that decision can forever change the trajectory of your life. You make a decision that you're going to work out during this time that you have to do. Or you're going to sit back and you're going to binge watch Netflix. That's a January 1st moment, by the way. You decide you're going to eat some hamburgers and some french fries and some ketchup with some salt and pepper. If you're like my two sons, you're going to put some hot sauce on there. Not you, just them. Or you're going to go to the refrigerator, you're going to open it up, and inside there's some kale. Oh, that sounds good, doesn't it? And there's some broccoli. That sounds good. Oh, no, wait, there's some Brussels sprouts. Yes, oh my gosh, that's a January 1st moment. So my question to Leah, she's listening out there, is you hear those words, and this is our core philosophy here at the Happy Entrepreneur Show, that today is my January 1st. What goes to your mind? What does it mean to you? What do you hear?
Like being my January 1st, what I would do or what I would start over.
Yeah, what kind of goes to your mind? What does it mean to you when you hear, you know what, every day is a fresh day, it's a new start?
Yeah, naturally I'm actually an introvert, so I'm really a critical thinker, and so I would say on my January 1st, I am going to not allow other people to write my narrative. I'm going to be brave and let my voice be heard, let my light shine down on others, let my experience speak for itself, and be solid in who I am and my truths and my purposes and my, it's hard, my purpose, but I'm looking for another word.
Your passion?
So my passion, but my vision, but my mission, like what I'm here for. I'm going to be solid in that. I've known for a long time that once I get on camera and once I get to talking, I have a good and profound message to say. I come from a hard place, and I think that when I speak, it translates through. And I'm scared sometimes to get there because it takes a lot of courage for me, a person who's introverted, to be able to let my voice be heard. And so I think my January 1st was accepting the challenge of being courageous, to come in on these shows, to speak to you and Dr. Lewis, and to accept these things, for me to be able to talk about my experiences and share those things with other people in hopes that my lessons will inspire others to take the chance and be brave on themselves as well. So you're doing a great job. I mean, as an introvert myself, I'm a high introvert. And, one thing to say about us high introverts, just so you know, by the way, is that we love to focus on the fundamentals. So we try to do all the things just right because we don't rely on our charisma. But you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. For those folks out there that know she's doing a great job, shout out number 1 right below the video. That's just like, she's doing a good job, because you are rocking it out, by the way. You are a rock star. As we close up this segment, one of the questions I like to ask is, sometimes there's truth inside of truisms. And you probably heard this before, that consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. And having said that, what do most people struggle with most? Consistency. Well, I got 2 hands up. By the way, I got 2 hands up. And so folks are excited about today is my January 1st. They're writing down some cool things they're going to do as well right now.
just like they did back on December 31st. After a couple drinks, on the back of a napkin, they were writing down those New Year's resolutions. And we know how that landed for some people, right? Not you listening out there, but for some folks. So take a moment, if you would, and talk about the power of consistency. And what do you share with not only your team, but yourself in order to be consistent, in order to, as my good mentor, Dr. George C. Frazier would say, hashtag stay the course.
Ah, yes, hashtag stay the course. That's a good one. Consistency. Yes, I'm in the military, so we do ready up drills, and that means that I'm taking my rifle from the rest position and I'm locking it into my good sight picture where I can actually engage a target up to 300 meters. Right. So ready up drills are just a muscle memory drill, and I think maybe people don't understand how many times it takes for you to obtain that clear sight picture locked in that position every single time. And the number is, I don't know if you can guess. Can you guess, Che, how many times it takes for you to get a drill, a muscle memory?
I don't know, 1,000 times, 2,000?
It's higher. It's 10,000 times. So it takes 10,000 times of a perfect repetition to get something into your muscle memory where it becomes second nature and you don't have to think about it. So in wrestling, an application in wrestling is that my drills, all of my drills, every time I clear the arm for a high crotch, boom, 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 10,000 times. I have to do that correctly in order for my body to make it muscle memory. So that taking that one step further, you can put that in your action steps. If I want to be consistently a better wrestler, consistently a good wrestler, I have to practice those drills, the boring part, not the live matches, not the one where I get to go and wrestle and scramble and have scrimmages and show. No, the boring stuff is the stuff that really makes the money, the stuff that really is the bread and butter. You go in there, you pick what is the technique, you work on it 100 times, 200 times, 300 times, again and again and again and again, and you fix it and you tweak it and you fix the angle and you change your hands and you move it and you do it again another 100 times. That is incredibly tedious, but that's what it takes to become good at something. That's what it takes to become consistently performing at a high level, day in and day out, where, you know, no matter what's coming at me, I know I can always get to my position that I feel like I know I can finish.
Wow. So well said. For those folks out there that want to know how can they best connect with you, it's a two-part question. Question number one is, how can they best connect with you? There might be someone that's watching out there that's a coach or has a little girl or a big girl that they're thinking, you know what, they want to wrestle, and so I want to connect with her. And then also part two is understand, you know, where they can read more about the apparel company that you have that's kind of behind you. So two-part question: how do they stay in the conversation with you? What's the best way to follow you and connect with you? And secondly, where do they go if they're like, you know, I want to have a conversation with someone about those women uniforms, the singlets that are behind you. So by accident, of course. It's just for accident, ladies and gentlemen. That's how she walks around her house. She just keeps them right there. I love it. It looks so good.
Right? Everybody has that behind them.
Yes, of course.
Well, we just moved here, so we're still under construction. So don't judge me. I'm gonna.
I love it. I love it. No, I think it's cool.
No, it's okay. Yeah, how to get a hold of me. I'm very responsive. So I'm actually a college coach too. So if there are any athletes out there, any female wrestlers out there that are junior or senior, and want to wrestle in the NCAA D3 wrestling program, I am a college coach at Delaware Valley University. You can always reach out to me at Leigh, Leigh .Jaynes, Jaynes, at delval.edu. Or you can reach out to me on any of my social media avenues. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, just Leigh Jaynes Wrestling. So again, it's my name, LeigJaynes, at just wrestling, Leigh Jaynes Wrestling. Pretty responsive on social media. I think that's probably the best way to get a hold of me, especially through Instagram. Other than that, if you want to check out what I have to offer, I built the website myself. I it's one of those things. I went through some challenges last year as a new and naive business person, and I figured some things out pretty quickly about how much of a Shark Tank it can be out there when you have a good thing going. But I did rebuild my website, and I have ljwrestlinginc.com. It looks pretty good right now from, at least from what I've been able to build, but I am still in the process of rebuilding. So I am going to reach out. If there are any listeners out there or anybody out there that has some experience in grant writing, I would like to see. Everything has been personally financed so far. I put my passion, my love, my everything, my expertise into building this. It's been 15 years. I've gotten it so far, and I'd like to really try to take it further for the girls. I'd like to be able to offer it on a global level to other countries that maybe aren't even as fortunate as the United States to have these things offered to them. And so I have a lot of ideas, and I want to expand and bring in the right people. So if there's anybody out there, I am a veteran, I'm a woman of color. If all of those things help in terms of writing a grant, or helping me to be able to obtain a grant, I would really greatly appreciate that, and I would, be forever grateful for that. So if there's anybody out there that does have skills in that area, I am going to reach out to Olive Branch and ask for some support and help if there is that out there.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you for sharing. Everyone, make sure you contact and stay in the conversation. We're coming down the home stretch. We're in a rapid fire segment, so we have about 2 other questions that are very important. And the question I like to ask everyone during this rapid fire segment, for those folks that are hearing for the first time, is we get to ask any question we want. And of course, Leah has 2 minutes or less to answer. And it's pretty cool, by the way, but my favorite...
Readjust. I'm on the shot clock now.
Yeah, she's like on the shot clock. 2 minutes. Dun 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 dun. But the question I like to ask almost every guest is, of all the mentors you've had along this journey of life, and you've had so many coaches, I'm sure, so many mentors. What is the one lesson you've learned from any one of your mentors that you would want to pass on to us, the audience? And you, the audience, you out there right now, you all can lean in now, like just lean in and do your hands like this and be like, thank you, because she's about to give you a gift. She's about to give you a gift of a lesson from one of her mentors that you can take away and you can use as well. So share it with us, please.
Yeah, I would say one of the most important things, and I think my mom would probably sum it up, but I think, don't bite the hand that feeds you. When you're being held accountable for the thing that you said you really wanted to do, when it gets tough, our tendency might be to lash out to the person close to us that is trying to help us get there. I just say, that the person there that's keeping you accountable, that's putting up with your abuse, putting up with your abuse while you're trying to get to where you want to go. Just recognize, be easy on the people that are there keeping you accountable. They're keeping you accountable because you said this is what you wanted to do. And so being coachable and being able to accept that criticism from that person that is keeping you accountable without lashing out at them would help you keep people around you.
I love it. I love it. That's so true.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you. I love it. I love it. What do you enjoy most about what you're doing now with the coaching and working and helping these women become the best version of themselves? What do you enjoy most about that?
I get happy mom tears when I actually see the kids accomplish what they buy into it. So I guess maybe there's first with people that I work with, that particular athlete has to buy into it. They have to believe that I am there to help give them the knowledge and the guidance and the light to get to where they want to go. And so when I get an athlete that really buys into what I'm telling them, they believe what I'm saying and they trust the process and they're not going to struggle with me. There's a certain point where you're trying to bathe a cat, and then they finally submit to the coaching. When an athlete really buys into it and you see that they're starting to get progress and they're starting to win, and when they actually get a milestone win, I think that's really fun for me to watch, that athlete accomplish what they set out to accomplish. And it just warmed my heart, knowing that I had a little bit to do with it, or that I had a small element in their success. It makes me feel good that they were able to accomplish it.
Yeah. What does happiness look like for you these days? Like, when are you the happiest?
I am the happiest when I am in balance. I tend to have a lot of irons in the fire. And so I am that person that wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning and goes to sleep at 2 o'clock. And I'm so passionate about what I do that I'll just stay and work on something and just dig into it, and I won't pay attention to anything else that's going on around. And I think that for me, I have to learn how to balance my life a lot more. I have to know that, wrestling is my life. My daughter wrestles, my husband wrestles. We're all wrestlers in this whole house. So wrestling can easily consume your entire life, and not and forget about those other things that you might be neglecting. And so in order to be healthy, I always have to remind me and others that I work with that there are 5 facets of health, right? Physical health is not the only health. You have vocational health, mental health, emotional health. And so I have to really, really pay attention to balancing all facets of health in order for me to be completely happy, I think.
Last question as we close out, and then we'll give you an opportunity to have your final thoughts and comments. You mentioned you have a daughter. I think she's 7 years old, at least at the time that we're here right now, and she's enjoying wrestling. You got her into the sport. Let's just imagine she gets a hold of this long lost video file, and it's 20 years from now, and she's looking back on it, and her mom gets to give her just some words of wisdom for where you are at this point in time. If you had a minute or two to speak to her, and as you're speaking to her, you're speaking to other 7-year-olds that are out there, by the way, other 10 years old and 14-year-olds. But what words would you pass on to them that's just kind of going through your mind right now to encourage and inspire them?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I think that you gotta, when you're 7 years old, you're supposed to be playing. You're supposed to have fun. Everything you're doing is supposed to be like fun-based activities and stuff. And so if you're doing something that you're absolutely miserable at, maybe do something else. My daughter didn't have to wrestle. I didn't force her to. I see a lot of parents that force their will for whatever it is on their kid. And I see a lot of those same kids quit by the time they get into middle school. Really, when it comes down to being a serious athlete, or that really doesn't really happen necessarily until middle school. You'll see, I want my daughter to have fun. I want other kids to learn how to play, and competition and winning and losing comes later. They automatically, I think, know what it means to win and know that they want to win. And so I don't have to introduce more pressure and competitiveness to a 7-year-old. I'm just trying to get her to do an activity that she enjoys, that she's getting a good, healthy workout in. She's learning some motor skills and proprioception. And so that's what wrestling is about for her right now, is about having a good time. Anything that doesn't reflect that version of what it looks like to be a 7-year-old kid in the wrestling world, and it becomes more traumatic, and where kids are trying to shove her face into the mat, and it's becoming like this more aggressive, like pit fight type of mentality. I'm not for that as a mom. I'm for appropriate age level competition, appropriate athletic activities for the age group and stuff like that. And so I'm pretty mindful about not burning my kid out in my sport that I love so much. She might choose to do something different. So, I think when you're young, go out there and try different things. Be a sponge of knowledge and a filter of information. You go out there and try a lot of things, figure out, yeah, I like that. No, I don't like that. Or I think I could do that. Find something that you really enjoy first, not the thing that you're necessarily good at. Just find the thing that you really love to do, that you really enjoy. It puts a smile on your kid's face. And then allow them to actually enjoy being in that experience. I don't get in the way. I'm a high level coach, but I'm not going to coach my 7-year-old because she's going to be like rebelling against me. It's mom. I'm not going to listen to my mom. I'm going to, and so I just get in the way of her being a kid. You know, I let other people coach my kid. I let her just enjoy that experience and be, you know, with me being removed from it, and I can just be mom. You know, I guess maybe that I don't know if I have all the right answers when it comes down to keeping a 7-year-old happy, but
Nah. Yeah, I mean, you know, you're speaking from the heart, and to me, that's the most important part that you can do. Let me first say thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. You certainly have a heart to give, you have a heart to serve, you're totally amazing, you've given the best version of yourself, and certainly we appreciate that. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. For those folks that are out there, do me a favor. I'm going to ask her to have her closing thoughts, to share her thoughts as she closes out in just a second. But do me a favor, hit the share button. Hit the watch party button. Like take a moment and pay this message forward to someone else. So someone else can be a champion in their life, a champion in their business, a champion for their family, a champion for their community. We're all champions. And I know one thing about champions and all successful people, they have one common belief. Do you know what that belief is? They can always get better. And Leah's helped them get a little bit better today and a little bit better. Leah, again, thank you so much. I want to turn it over to you to have your final thoughts and comments. Share any words of inspiration for folks that are out there watching right now. Got to have you back, by the way. We got to have you back. We got to have you back. So thank you so much.
yeah, I really thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me a platform to, you know, voice, you know, have a voice. I just wanted to, like, you told me I have to remind them of what the 5 things were.
Yes.
And so I'm going to say, once you have your plan, don't forget, 1, celebrate your little wins, okay? Celebrate your wins. Know yourself, follow through, be humble, and don't compare yourself to other people. Okay, so those are some things that helped me become a champion. I still have a lot of work to do in so many different avenues. I feel like the work is never done. So just be humble, you know, take a chance, take a leap of faith, follow your passion, trust your intuition, and God bless you. Thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate it. I hope I get to come back sometime.
You definitely will. Thank you so much. Said so well. The coach is in the house. The coach is in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, I want you to know that you're a winner. I want you to know that you're already a champion. You're very special. You've got greatness inside you. And for you, the best is still yet to come. Why? Because you're not going to compare yourself to other folks. For you, today is your January 1st. Why? Because you're a champion. You're going to step out there and you're going to accept the challenge and move forward. And with that being said, I know for you that the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. The best is still yet to come. My name, for those folks that are curious, who's doing all that yelling and screaming, my name, by the way, is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And I promise you from the bottom of my heart, we'll make some good things happen. We connect again next time. Remember, time is long. Life, on the other hand, is very, very short. So you got to live in the moment and you got to make it count. God bless and I wish you success. Thanks a lot, Leah. We'll see you later. Bye, everyone. Talk to you. We out of here. Peace. Promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check. All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. Yes. Yeah. And they stay there, and they stay there, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win.
Yeah.
Thank you. God bless.